Welcome everyone back to another BOLDcast reaction. I'm Carson.
I'm Lindsay.
And it is really echoey in here. We're visiting family, and we're here to watch Attack on Titan, Season 4, Episode 3. What happened last time?
Last time, we were I was, wondering if we were going to go and see our, main cast again, but no, we, stayed in it, and we got more of an insight into the council and how everything's working, and they're figuring out of the war and everything, and a lot of interesting political moves there of we really need to do this now, and there's a year left till Zeke is no longer the Beast Titan, so he needs to do it now. And then we had a shot of Reiner back in his house, and we also found out that Gabby is his cousin as well, and that makes so much sense as to why she idolizes him and really wants that life for herself, I guess, because it seems very glamorous to her. And then we get to see more of his real thoughts on he still views them as people. Yeah. And it's really hard.
And a smaller detail that I found really interesting, that and it's important I think to connect it to the rest of what happened in season 3, but Reiner talking about everybody and the way that Galliard talked to him, he was just so you were just imitating my brother. That's why Reiner isn't actually the dependable cool big brother type dude. He's sort of faked it till he made it. And it actually worked on the outside, but on the inside it crippled him, obviously, because he had that split personality thing, which I think it's been long enough that people might forget, but that was a really big part of his character that happened. So there's a lot of going on with him, and it's really crazy. So it's gonna be really dope to see what happens in this episode of Attack on Titan. Hope you guys enjoy our reaction and review to this episode of Attack on Titan. Please leave a like and subscribe for the next week's episode, and to hear our theories and stuff like that. I've read a portion of the manga. I'm not going to say to what point, but this whole little part of the story I've read up to, and so I know what's going to happen through the next few episodes. I'm not sure when I actually dropped it, but I haven't read it until I'm not caught up with the manga, so there's still a lot of things that I don't know, and Lindsay doesn't know anything, so you can expect a completely fresh reaction from her, but we're just going to get right into this. Hope you guys enjoy, like and subscribe, and enjoy most of all. Support the official release. We're watching on Funimation, and yeah, let's go. Is that young Reiner?
It's really shitty.
Yeah. He just wanted to save his family. For the freedom. Young Zeke. The whole gang. Annie even in the background. And then Galliard was the only one out of all of them that didn't get picked. Oh, the trailer song.
It's rough.
He looks so different as a little kid.
Yeah.
They're drawing him really different. I don't remember.
Oh, that's so sad.
She really likes crushing small things, I guess.
13年で英雄になるんだろ。どの悪魔を成敗すれば世界を救えるんだ。そしたら俺は世界一の自慢の息子になれるんだ。なんか起きねえかな。ここにいたんだ。
Really abrupt intro, but that was a really good transition from the scenes because they were like outside the wall just there. Alright, here we go. Oh.
Trial run.
Versatility, yeah. Whoa. See? All the Titans are... Not all the Titans are in CG. This looks fucking good. Oh, the Season 1 OST with Annie. They also drew Annie different. Her hair looks so different. Oh, see, the armor type. Maybe it's just because they aren't going to be using the female type, maybe? I don't know. Slightly larger, 18 meters, I think it is. Eren's is 15. Card Titan. Endurance, yeah. You could spend months.
Superior judgment. Interesting.
Oh, is that part of the OP? It's just a straight up nuke.
A god of destruction.
Yeah. Will be able to handle it. They don't have much to say about him. Just that he'll be able to handle it. I guess. You're not wrong, Magath. So they had already committed horrible atrocities before they even went there.
Yeah.
But maybe they weren't innocents? Like they were just destroying military bases, it looked like. It didn't look like they were bombing innocent civilians. But who knows? It was an affair, of course.
Yeah, and they probably aren't supposed to...
No, of course not. Well...
The whole point of what he was doing it for, just gone, and then he gets shipped off. So
yeah, his entire purpose is fucking over with. He's so like... This is where Gabby gets it from, clearly. They cut from the same cloth. I forgot about this.
Fuck.
Just like with Gabby again. That's why Reiner got it in his head. And there's Ymir. When it all went down. fucking god.
長距離走であんたに負けたの初めて戻ってるはずだ。どの道マルセルの指揮なしじゃ任務を果たせっこない。ダメだ
First you lose your purpose and then
このまま任務を
every
実行
like
するんだ。俺だけだと言い切れるか。3人とも逃げた責任を俺だけが問われるのか。自分たちだけは粛清されないと確信を持って言えるか。甘えられっこない。
そんなすぐに巨人の力が使えるわけ。
お前はすぐに超大型を使いこなしただろうが。とにかくこのままじゃ俺たちはおしまいなんだよ。始祖を獲得しなきゃもう故郷には帰れないんだ。その冷静さの100分の1でも発揮してくれる。アギトもマルセルも失わずに済んだのにダメなら私たちを脅すってわけ。あんたがマガトに弁明しな。全て自分の責任ですって言え。何が命令何でも
holy shit, Annie.
自分のことしか考えてないくせに。私もそうだ。生きて帰んなきゃいけないんだよ。悪いと思ってんなら死ねよ。罪をかぶって。
Season 1 soundtrack.
He looks.
死んだ。マルセルが必要なら俺がマルセルになるから。これが俺たちが故郷に帰る唯一の手段だ。
It's so fucked up.
故郷に。
Oh my god. Damn, the season 1 animation was so good. Yeah, and then right then, they went from that to this. Literal children. There's the smiling titan.
Imagine if it just picked him up and ate it there.
I'm confused why it didn't. I mean, not really. It was kind of like drawn.
父と3人で幸せに暮らせると思ったから。まだ何も分かってないんだ。クルローゼの中だ。兄、ベルトルト、ごめんな。マルセル、俺、本当の戦士になるから。
とう、貴様は何しにここに来た。人
Whoa.
類を救うためです。後ろに大きくなって、それが仕事だと気づいて急いで窓を開けたら。
You remember that story?
馬に乗って逃げたんだ。ちょうどお前らぐらいの子供を3人残してな。
Was that Kenny?
よう、嬢ちゃん。
It
この
was.
じじいをつけました。なかなか男を見る目があるようだな。
私は旅籠で生まれた。父親の話を聞かされて育ったから一目で分かってる。
そりゃ感動的だな。パパにハグしてほしければまず両手を上げろ。
絶対にないと言い切れるの。
妹に誓ってねえが、そいつは俺が一番笑えない冗談だ。
Promise to his sister.
ひどいよ。パパ
They're moving through a lot right now.
パパが嫌いになる年頃か。
今日もすごいな。この足の感じだと今日は雪か。
いや、晴天だ。
今日も天候にしとけ。お前ら天候に遅れるぞ。起きろ、ベルトルト。
あんたたちは
You remember they said that in like season 2 that they used to use as sleeping positions to judge the
Yeah.
weather.
これ以上顔に近づけないでくれる。
疲れたろ。いつもお前ばかりに負担をかけてすまないと思ってる。今日はこの辺にしておこう。
Reiner is so fucked up,
同
man.
じ目を見る。
Like just the way he's talking, you
海
can.
外地で首を吊ったおじさんの夢だ。なんで首をくくる前に僕たちにあんな話したんだろうって。
If you remember, he told the same story as his cover story when he was talking to Eren and Armin for the first time.
死んじまうぞ。
お前や、イカサみたい
れしかねえだろ。
Keep moving forward.
巨人を一匹残らず駆逐するんだろ。お前ならやれる。
このままじゃダメだ。
そうだ。俺にはまだあいつらが。
He's just destroyed.
He's been destroyed from fucking day one. It's like so... It goes so deep.
経過は順調みたいですね。会話できるくらい回復して。
まあな、ここに心的外傷の治療に来てるのは俺のは嘘だ。記憶障害で家まで帰れないってことにしてるが、本当は帰りたくないだけだ。今は家族に顔を合わせづらくてな。戦士になるための訓練か。
ええ。でも俺はなれません。同じ候補生に優秀なやつがいて、俺の出番はなさそうです。
それはよかった。君はいいやつだ。長生きしてくれるなら嬉しいよ。
でも俺はそいつを戦士にさせたくなくて。
どうしてこの候補生は女なのか。
ここじゃ有名なやつですよ。この前の戦争でも活躍したくらいで。誰だって次の鎧はあいつがいいって言うはず。でも俺は力がないから何もできないまま終わるんだ。
俺はここに来て毎日思う。なんでこんなことになったんだろう。心も体も蝕まれ、徹底的に自由を奪われ、自分自身も失う。こんなことになるなんて知っていれば、誰も戦場なんかいて地獄に足を突っ込むんだ。大抵その何かは自分の意志じゃない。他人や環境に強制されて仕方なくだ。自分で自分の背中を押したやつの見る地獄は別だ。その地獄の先にある何かを見ている。それは希望かもしれないし、さらなる地獄かもしれない。それは進み続けた者にしかわからない。
That's really interesting.
What?
Just what he was saying.
Yeah.
But, like, yeah. So, what did you think of that episode?
There was a lot in that episode.
There was a whole lot. Did you get the... I take it you didn't get the whole reveal at the end?
Is it supposed to be Eren somehow? But how would that make sense?
I'm surprised you weren't more surprised by that. You had like no reaction. You were just
I'm just confused because I don't understand.
I was unsure
possible.
if you even knew that was him because you were just like so.
I'm just confused at like how that could have happened, I suppose, and like unless he somehow lost his abilities and just like can't regrow his leg, or he's just like recutting it off every few hours. I don't know what is like how, I suppose. I guess. I'm just confused. It's interesting, but I just don't know how.
I think that you're forgetting when Reiner and Bertolt chopped his arms off, they just tied some cloth and they can't regrow through a material. Like it's being stemmed. Remember they cut his arms off when they captured him and they just like tied his jacket up or something.
Oh.
And like prevented... There's no space for his arms to regrow.
I just didn't, like, notice at that point.
Yeah, because remember, the whole reason that the finale of Season 2 happened was because he was, like, still regrowing his fingers and he couldn't turn into a Titan. Because he had regrown his arm throughout the whole finale, the whole climax there. Yeah, but so that's it. Is
So
presumably if he's like, unless some crazy shit happened, he's a Titan man still.
yeah, and okay,
cut off his leg and then just tied it
on to like.
Yeah, kind of like a tourniquet, but more just like preventing. There's no space for it to grow out of.
Yeah, that makes sense, especially now that you bring up that. I guess I just forgot about that or wasn't paying attention to that detail.
Yeah.
Of it at that, because there's so much more going on.
Yeah.
At that time.
That's fair.
And I was just confused at like how, like he.
It's just funny that you had zero reaction. You're just like, you literally said nothing, and you made no.
Like,
you were just like. Literally just
I was like, damn, this guy looks like Eren, and he just repeated that exact same thing that we just got reminded of, but like, how? But I guess that makes it. So I wonder if is this like part of their like undercover like operate? Did they just like sneak in here and are just like pretending to be wounded soldiers, and then they're all just gonna be like, oh yeah, we're so wounded.
Well, we haven't seen anybody else.
We haven't seen anyone else.
So, quick spoiler alert. I mean, it was a huge spoiler because Attack on Titan fans are the freaking worst when it comes to this. Luckily, I knew, but like last week on every video across the internet, it was like, oh, did you remember when that guy said boom? Eren was in that episode. He was in last episode. Remember when there was the line of guys? It was the same guy that Falco was talking to yesterday. And it's Eren. It was Eren then too. He was acting like he had PTSD, like he was shell shocked.
Yeah, that's a really elaborate, like disguise and plan. I guess
he grew out his hair. He hasn't cut his hair since I think season 3 because his hair was getting longer. Like in the finale when they like got to the ocean, his hair was like shoulder length, like my length of hair. I guess. But yeah. So, what do you think of what he said? He's just like, people have their freedom taken away, but like having the freedom to push yourself onward and have that something to work towards, it's also a curse. I forget the wording specifically that he used, but like that you'll know a true it might be hope or it may be just another kind of hell is just having your own freedom. Yeah. Because just like when they got to the ocean, it was just like
it's like you get there, but it's something even worse on the other side.
Exactly. The grass isn't necessarily greener.
Yeah, it's like you can keep pushing forward, and it might be good, but it also might be just as bad or even worse. Side. Damn. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wanted like. Because we aren't getting anything of the other side yet. Like, we aren't, like, seeing... This is, like, the first we've seen. And obviously, they've had so long to prepare. So they obviously have something that's, like, really smart. And obviously, Eren is, like, fucking deep undercover. But still in, like... Because no one would know what he looked like. He's still just... Because he's just another dude. Yeah. So... And like,
he looks way different. He grew his facial hair and his hair.
Mm-hmm. And even if he looked the same, only people who like knew him would be able to see,
and they wouldn't suspect a guy with a missing leg as well.
Exactly. That's why I was confused as well. Even like,
also if Eren's had more time, it's also just as far as the leg thing, it's also worth considering. You remember when Annie, even better example. I was gonna say when Annie was in Titan form and healed her one eye faster to kill Levi's squad. So they have control. We've seen them since season 1 have control over their healing abilities. Yeah. And especially, even way better example, when Reiner got like his arm chomped by that Titan in the tower in season 2, when he revealed himself, he had stemmed the healing of that arm and was acting like he was wounded. Yeah. And then when he was like, I'm a warrior, then he takes it off and you see the steam and he like, shink, and then it all heals up. So they have... the more experienced a Titan shifter is, the more control they have over their healing powers. So maybe he doesn't need to tie something on the end, or he could probably just control, like controlling when you turn into a Titan. They have the same ability of controlling whether their Titan abilities are activated as far as healing is concerned. Mm-hmm. Like with hardening as well, it's just an extension of the same. Like the more familiar you are with it, the more control you have over it. So
Yeah.
that's another thing. But yeah, it's another thing that does set him apart, that like he cuts off his own leg and then
Yeah, it's like such a weird thing because it's not really that much of a, like, he can grow it back, so it's not like, oh my god, he just cut off his own leg
it's just
for this
so
plan.
unexpected.
But it's unexpected, and that's why I was so confused, because I was like, how is that even possible? Like,
for him to have one leg.
For him to have one leg and not be healing.
Well, you fell for it, clearly.
Yeah,
you fell for it
the
to the
disguise
point where
was
you had
so
zero
convincing.
reaction.
I'm sorry. I apologize. I was just very confused. Yeah. But there's a lot of other stuff in there with, like...
I wish I could... Hang on. Oh, actually, it's a
just
wireless
right over
mouse.
there, yeah.
Welcome to technology.
The backstory...
Yeah, all that stuff with the
Reiner's
flashback, that's like a
backstory-
multiple chapter thing. They are really moving through this. Like,
That was really cool how they showed, like, all of the Titans and, like, what they, like, oh, this person's good for this because of this.
and then Baritol's just like, he can handle it. Like,
Well,
I love that
feel
so
like
much.
for the Colossal Titan, as long as they could, like, mentally handle being a Titan, like, you don't have to, like, have some super good skills, you just have to, like, be big.
For the
and, like,
Colossal Titan?
Yeah, and,
Yeah.
like, crush shit.
Well, you have to have, like, a strong enough will.
Well, that's what I meant, like, as long as he,
Yeah.
like, has the resolve, he doesn't need to be, like...
Which, like, he didn't is the problem. Like, they picked the wrong crop of
Well,
kids, clearly.
that's why they even said, like, oh, wow, these guys are, like, so talented. They're, like, the best ones to come up. Well, yeah, they're all, like, fucked in the head.
Yeah. And they're so young that they're easily... Like, Reiner
They're
was
easily
so brain...
manipulated.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's
Which
the
is
real
the-
reason why they chose it.
Which is, like, which was part of the point as well. It
Yeah.
was, like, oh, yeah.
Your loyalty.
They're so... Are you sure we should send kids? It's like, yeah, they'll do whatever we want.
Yeah.
That's the entire point.
Some gang culture shit. You get them while they're young, and then they'll be yours forever. They'll do whatever you say.
Yeah, and, like, seeing Reiner, like, be so loyal. He goes from one thing to the other so fast. He's, like, all over the place.
I mean, it wasn't fast at all. It was over the course of his life, but through the episode, it's like... It's so crazy, because, like, you think that, oh, Reiner's this guy. And then it turns out, no, he actually is... Like, he had pretended to be that guy for so long that it fucked with him, and now he's both, and, like, that's its own way of being fucked
it was
up.
like he was so, like, loyal, and so, like, me and my mom and my dad, we're gonna live happily ever after, it's gonna be awesome. No, friend gets killed, okay, well, I'm gonna be like that guy. But then he's still the double agent, because he's being like that guy, but in a different place, like, not in his own plan, like, he's still, like, kind of himself, like, a mixture of the two of them, but then he's, like, also just, like, yeah, I'm the leader, I'm, like, awesome, guys.
But it turns out, like, before that, it was all, like, he just was completely different. Like, it's just,
it doesn't even sound like the same person.
It doesn't. Like, it doesn't.
Disturbing, actually.
That, like, that's how much development he's had over the course of his life, that, like, he went from just super, like, undyingly loyal, like, pretty much like Gabby, just willing to do whatever it takes to serve Marley, and then and you wouldn't expect that to, like, given what we know already about him, but the fact that he was like that before adds a completely new dimension to, like, all of the development he's had and all of the changes he's gone through psychologically. And then he just straight up, like, he was like split personality, but because of, like, what happened at Shiganshina, it, like, they're getting it. What happened at Shiganshina, it, like, and coming back from it and over the last few years, it doesn't seem, at least we haven't seen him be, like, split personality and shit, but he's just done. He's just over it. He's so, like, in a way, he's more like the guy he was trying to emulate than, he's somewhere in the middle now. Like, he's sort of come to the center, but it's with so much distress and damage that he is just... He literally tried to kill himself, which, by the way, really realistic depiction of, like, suicidal tendency. That, like, I forget, I think it was Dr. K, actually, on Twitch, who, like, I heard say this, but, like, suicidality isn't just a thing you, like, plan to do over time. It's, like, people who are suicidal, at least how he puts it, is that, like, you're rolling the dice every day. Like, people who are legit suicidal are literally rolling the dice and, like, maybe I'll kill myself. It's, like, in the moment. It's, like, so impulsive. It's not, like, this big planned out thing. For some people, I'm sure it is. But, like, some people plan it out, and then in the moment they decide not to, or something along the way, like, the situation changes. And that's exactly the way they portrayed it of Reiner has the gun in his mouth, and then just, like, one little bit of stimuli was enough to, like, change the odds enough for him to be like, oh, wait, I still have them. It's like, that's how impulsive it is, where he just did it in a second, and then was about to do it, and then realized what was going on, and then pulled it away. And it's like he forgot that he had all these people relying on him. And it's a really, like, darkly realistic portrayal of that sort of tendency, and it's really well done. Yeah, there was a lot. Like, again, I will say, I know, like, everybody's been freaking out apparently about the animation. The animation clearly is not as good as season 1, but it hasn't been as good as season 1 for a long time. I like the animation. I enjoy it. But I definitely would prefer. I would love it for it to go back to how it was, or it to be more consistent. Because that's my problem. It's not that it's bad; it's that it's inconsistent with what we had seen before, and that's my main problem with it. It has nothing to do with the quality. It's clearly high quality. There's some problems I have with it here and there, but there are some things that they do that are really great, like the camera movements of last episode and all the dynamic stuff going on there, and the cinematography. It's really good. But of course, I would prefer it to be consistent with the rest of the series, and they're doing a good job with what they have, and I think that it genuinely is good animation. I'm really enjoying it, but my problem with it isn't the quality necessarily. Although I don't think anyone would disagree that season 1, especially of Attack on Titan, as far as animation and visual style, was in a completely different league from, like, most things. So, but I just saw a lot of discussion about the animation last episode, and I'm sure there's going to be some this episode as well, because they used a lot of the season 1 animation in this episode, and then filled in the gaps with the new studio. But what do you think of that whole flashback with the gang?
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna talk about. When they first got there, it, like, I guess I didn't put it together, like, how fast that whole thing went. You know, like, for some reason I had, like, thought that they were maybe, like, already there for a little while.
Already where for a little while?
Like, they were already just, like, in the walls, or, like, but I guess I just didn't put together, or, like, because they literally got there, rode for, like, a day, the next day they reached the wall and just, like, plowed through it, and then they, like, escaped in with the refugees, which was,
smuggled
like,
themselves in,
so smart. Not only to just, like, kill a bunch of people and, like, take out, like...
But to use the confusion,
but, like, yeah, because then it's, of course, when you go in there, you could be like, oh yeah, I was just from this random thing and everyone else died.
By the way, in season 1, episode 3, 2, 4, something like that, you see Reiner and Bertolt amongst the refugees, like, literally in season 1. There's a shot where I think Armin is talking about the farming efforts. Like, after the refugees came into Walrose, they were like, and then they were all put to work, and hundreds died in the cold, like, unyielding fields that gave us nothing, and all the efforts were useless, but at least it, you know, controlled the population a bit. There's, like, a shot of Reiner and Bertolt, like, either working or, like, looking surprised or, like, shocked or something.
Damn.
But yeah. So all the way back then they had seeded that it was there, and they had previously said that they were from, like, Walmaria. So
yeah, I guess because I had just, like, not really thought too much about that. They literally just showed up there and did that right away, and then, like, went in.
Yeah, they weren't in there.
I guess I just assumed that they were, like, scoping it out a bit more and, like, seeing, but I guess they didn't. They literally just didn't have to.
Yeah, why would they?
Because they were just gonna destroy it anyway.
everyone was gonna die, there'd be no point in like, oh, we need to gauge their defenses, like, because nobody had ever considered that the Titan that would happen as well. You have to remember the magnitude of that attack that nobody considered. Like you hear like Hannes talk about it in the first episode. He's just like, they're roaming around up there, mindless, dead-eyed, whatever he says in the dub at least. And then it's like, that's it. You just see them like scratching at the walls, doing nothing, and then this literal colossus shows up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then, like, Annie as well was really interesting.
Yeah.
She's just, like, keeps wanting to go home. She's just,
that's all
like,
she wants.
She's just like, we've got enough, let's go
turn
home.
back.
Or, like, even when they literally first got there, she's just like, oh, he's dead, let's go back.
Yeah.
And then they're just like,
she
no.
doesn't give
she
a
just
shit.
doesn't want to.
Like, and we
which
knew
is
her...
so...
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, which is so interesting, especially because, like, Reiner was so, like, into it, and then everyone else was like, and Annie was like, just no. Mm-hmm. And then Reiner was like, are you guys dumb? Like,
you think I'm the only one getting eaten when
yeah.
you show up?
But it's just, like, so... It's so interesting to see that contrast.
Big time, because, like, we
and
knew Annie as, like, so cold. Yeah,
Annie.
exactly.
And
it's like, we only knew her as the cold, shut-off, introvert loner who, like, you know, was just focused on the mission and all this stuff. But, like, just, you see so much into her psyche that, like, we saw that, like, burst of emotion during the fight at the end, like, when she was captured. But that's it. The rest of the time, she was, like, almost completely stoic. But then you see that that's, like, she's just barely holding it back, and she's, like, literally killing bugs like they're people. Like, it's so...
This is practice.
They practice, or, like, yeah, I don't
just
know.
like,
What is that? What does that mean that she's doing that? Because, like, I thought when she was killing... Like, when she's chasing Eren in the forest and shit, and, like, killing all the people on her way to him, she... In the manga, she's smiling when she's, like, twirling that guy around, like headphones. But, like, I think in the anime, you can't really see the expression, or it's, like, really stoic again. And I always took it as kind of, like, a coping mechanism for, like, doing what she's doing, and just, like, a, you know, I'm already going this far, screw it type of thing. But, like, it's that showing her doing that, it
just,
adds
like,
such, like, a weird...
it's, like...
I don't know what to make of it, but it adds such a weird dimension to it. I don't know what
It's kind of weird, because it's, like, you see this, like, most of what was in this episode is, like, wow, she, like, kind of confirmed as to, like, what we see a little bit of when she's, like, really, like, we see, like, when we saw her emotions previously, you're like, wow, she's, like, way more fragile than you might have thought, or, like, way more emotional. And then this one, you're like, wow, she's even more. She's, like, on the verge of a breakdown right now the entire time.
Yeah.
And then she just, like, kills a bug, and she's, like, smashing it around. And I don't know what to think about that.
And she's, like, not listening. Like, that's the thing, is, like, she's so distracted with this bug that she's not listening to, like, the deep emotional conversation that Bertolt...
Or if she is maybe she was listening, and she just, like, pretends that she's not listening.
Didn't seem like it. It seemed like she was really just concerned with mushing that bug into the dirt. Anyway, I don't know. Yeah, like, I don't know what to make of that as far as her character. I need to think some more about that. But it's definitely really interesting, and adds another layer to what's going on with her. Bertolt still just whatever, man. We kind of have his story. His whole thing seems to be tied up. I don't think we learned very much about him.
Yeah,
but we did learn Marcel protecting his brother. Like, Galliard was... Like, judging by how Galliard used the Jaw Titan in the fight in the first episode, in the, like, the siege, clearly has so much potential as a Titan shifter. Probably had been like that, judging from how he acted in the flashback. Like, super capable. And, you know, but it's just Marcel put in a bad word for him and a good word for Reiner, because he wanted Reiner to die over his brother. Which
could potentially be a similar dynamic to what's going on right now with, like, Falco. How, like, his older brother has already been chosen, and he's like, maybe he's like, oh yeah, Gabby is also awesome as well. Like, maybe doesn't want the same thing for his brother. It would be interesting to see, like, if that, like, Falco's older brother, maybe, I don't...
Holt?
Yeah, Colt. If he like would maybe have a similar thing where he maybe doesn't want Falco to be it, or if he like hasn't had that like realization that it might not be the best thing to die in 13 years. Which is also interesting how all that whole team was like created at one time, which I guess we could have already figured out because all of them were around the same age. But like now, because of all the shit that went wrong, all of the Titan shifters are on different timelines. Like they
Galliard
were in
and
a
Peak.
full set.
Galliard and Peak are like older, or no, Peak would be the same. Galliard's the only difference.
Galliard is he's the different.
Galliard and obviously Armin, but
yeah, but they're only replacing. We haven't seen any talk of them replacing Peak yet.
No, we haven't. But there's other candidates. So
yeah,
I think it just
aren't focusing on them.
I think she was picked at the same time. We probably just aren't focusing on it.
Yeah, it's just interesting that they like had such a system going, but now they've like lost one and had that fuck up.
Yeah, it's been fucked up. It's been fucked up for a while. What else can we talk about here? Let's see. Or is that it? Is there anything else we want to say? Oh, that guy talking who hung himself. He like told them his story, then hung himself. I said it during the episode, but that was that shot, that like cut to where he like opens the window. All they did was like color over Bertolt there, because that's season 1 art. That's a cut to that's like a fake flashback thing, while Bertolt is like faking his backstory of literally saying exactly what that guy said about what happened to him. He opened his window, he heard thumping, the animals were acting restless that day. Opened his window and it was there, and then I ran and left my people. Like, that was literally his cover story, and then they had this whole thing where like, yeah, and he was like getting all messed up about it too, and that explains why.
Because the guy just did that and then killed himself, and they were all like,
why would he say that and then die? Like, what is the point of that? Like, and I think that it's kind of stuck with him, and that's why he used it as a cover story, and that's why I was gonna say it was all theatrics back then, because I'm thinking back to that scene, and Reiner like had to comfort him. And I thought, at the time, I thought it was like and like rewatching it after the whole reveal for them and everything, I thought that it was like, Bertolt is just like laying it on a bit thick to like seem really,
and he's
come
like,
off
hey,
really sympathetic. And then Reiner's just like, alright, that's enough, don't embellish too much. Which I think it was, but it was also kind of a comforting thing of like, Bertolt was kind of messed up about that guy's story and listening to it, so... it adds more dimension to that.
Because that would have been like one of their first
people that they
things
talk to
in the wall, and then he just tells him that crazy story and then kills himself. So, yeah, definitely. Like they just come in, and like they caused all of that as well. They like hear this guy telling the horror story, and then just choosing he'd rather not be alive, and they're like. Great. Anyway,
anything more you want to say about the episode?
No, it was a lot of interesting backstory, and I'm also really interested to see like more of Eren, or like if anyone else is over here.
What do you think he's doing?
I don't think he would come over by himself. That would be like really dumb, and he would maybe do that if he was like season 1 him. He might have just like ran away and did that by himself, but I feel like this is part of some kind of plan, but I don't know, like I feel like they would maybe try and like infiltrate and just like all be in there and then do anything, but then it would be so hard because like how would you know like who to bring, you know? Like, oh, do you just bring like Eren and Armin and like hope that they can just you know? It's just, like, interesting, because I don't know, like, how...
What do you think is most likely?
I don't know.
Do you have a prediction, rather than just a bunch of, like, they could do this, could do that? What do you think is most likely?
I feel like they are maybe planning to, like, sort of attack from the inside, but I don't know, like, how they would go about that. They've obviously... I'm sure that they've worked on some kind of different... strategies or like different weapons or something during the meantime. They've probably, because they've sent out a bunch of boats over there and none of them have come back. Isn't that what they've been talking about?
Yes.
So I bet they've taken all those. I doubt they've just sunk the boats. They've probably taken them, been like equipping them for their own use and like developing maybe different weapons using what was already on there or whatever. I don't know what the plan could be, because I don't think it would make sense if they were just like going to spy for a little bit. I don't think it would make any sense to send Eren as the spy. So I feel like they must be like into their plan and like have something set up. But I don't know what.
Well, there's only one way to find out, and that's to wait one more week. Hope you guys like and subscribe, and hope you enjoyed the reaction review to this episode of Attack on Titan. I'm Carson.
I'm Lindsay.
And I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.